some awesome events that, oh boy, hot tea on my.
I ain't never missed my cue.
What's up, guys? Ryan Fitterman with the Fitterman and Friends podcast. Today I have two of my buddies here, Manuel
and Nick.
Fan favorites, as you know. We are just coming off the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight in Dallas. We are not going to really debate back and forth about the outcome of the fight. However, Fitterman Sports did have a mega part in the events that took place in Dallas. Obviously, we are the official memorabilia company of Mike Tyson for going on 13 years. We are the only memorabilia company thus far that has done an autograph signing with Jake Paul, with the exception of one card company, but memorabilia-wise, we're the only one that Jake has worked with thus far. So when we got the call at the beginning of the year that this fight between Mike and Jake was going to take place, we started brainstorming on all aspects, how to be a part of this from the retail autograph side, which is what we specialize in. So fast forward to the fight initially taking place July 20th, having to be rescheduled due to Mike's health issues, with now what is public information that we almost lost Mike. He had 8 blood transfusions and battled through the hospital for a couple weeks. That was obviously an extremely tough period of time for us to get through. Obviously, Mike is a mega part of our company. He's the biggest and the best thing that's ever happened to Fitterman Sports as far as client-wise. So talking to Mike on a daily while he's in the hospital, pushing through this. Obviously, it was tough to get through. Thank God he healed Mike and gave him the strength to overcome. Once Mike gave us the word that he was back on board to fight Jake, and we had a new date of November 15th, we were all in. We decided to be a corporate partner of the event. It only made sense. It was the perfect fit for us. And coincidentally, it was in our home state of Texas. I'm going to just brief you guys on what our involvement was to speed you up to process, and then we can chime in and tell stories of what took place, the long days, the hours, the weeks leading up to it. So when we decided to be a corporate partner, there was 2 aspects to the deal. One was we would have a retail shop at the press conference, a retail shop at the weigh-in, a retail shop at the open workouts. And then the crazy part was 4 retail shops inside the Dallas Cowboys Stadium on fight night. So I would like to think we've done a lot of crazy things in the tenure of Fitterman Sports being around, but we've never sold at a live sporting event before. So this was a massive undertaking that we had to learn on the fly and then assemble a massive team of employees and family members to help execute. Being a corporate partner, negotiated in our deal to acquire some of the physical assets from the fight. And what that means is we own the stool that Mike used for his fight. We own Jake's stool. We own the red and blue corner pads for the red and blue corners that the fighters fought out of. Obviously, the undercard co-main event was Amanda and Katie, a rematch, the most watched women's sporting event in the history of sports. And obviously the main event being Jake and Mike. We also own the mat that the fights took place on and the ropes. So the goal is to create some incredible products capturing that special evening and that mega event where Mike Tyson essentially knocked out Netflix in the largest streaming sporting event that's ever taken place and the most watched women's sporting event of all time. So stay tuned to Fitterman Sports for our exclusive fight use, ring use, mat use, event use items. The first one we're actually going to be launching very soon. It's unbelievably designed and we're extremely excited about it. So let's just jump into the couple weeks leading up to the fight. So obviously we knew, having 7 retail stores, that the demand for Tyson product was going to be insane. And we wanted to be over prepared for this opposed to the latter. We were 22 days out from the fight. Mike was shutting things down 21 days out. And so we tried to squeeze in, or we did squeeze in one more signing. So we planned this last minute. I think we're pushing back to what? This was what? October?
October
22, maybe?
Yeah.
24, 25. Anyways, it was 22 days out from the fight. that Mike says he'll squeeze in a signing. So we go to Vegas, we set up. He's in the middle of training. So the interesting part, behind the scenes stuff that you guys would never know. So one of the requirements to be around Mike 21 days out from the fight was we had to pass certain health requirements and take some health tests, some COVID tests, etc. We had to do the signing with a limited staff, meaning only a certain amount of people were allowed to be around Mike in like a 10-foot or less proximity of him. We had to wear masks. We had to wear gloves. So we were all in. We were doing whatever it would take to restock our Tyson memorabilia before the fight, because we knew it was going to be crazy with our 7 stores in Dallas. So that's the long version of the recap leading up to the Tyson Paul fight. Obviously, we had a team of 30?
In Dallas, yes.
We had a team of 30 in Dallas that would help run our stores and manage them and set up. Some of these team members missed family events. Some of them brought their whole family with them. Some of them had a 24-hour day. Some of us were up there for 8 days. So I just chime in. And Nick, you had some cool experiences driving around Team Tyson the week of the fight. Manuel, I know you were up there all week helping manage and oversee the stores and some of the logistics. Your family came up. Derek's family came up. Ina came up. I mean, we brought out any and everyone that we loved and trusted. We asked them to help us be a part of this magnificent event. Obviously, Netflix and Tyson and Paul. And let's just reminisce and chop it up. Nick, you probably have some of the craziest stories, because we were running around Team Tyson, the family, the Tysons, some billionaire buddies. Yeah. You were helping me with stuff in the locker room before the fight. So just chime in. Like, what was fight week like for you? I knew initially you and I were going to go up like 10 days prior.
Right.
I think we went up like a week prior. So just go for it.
Drove to Dallas, little road trip. Manny drove along with us. Kevin was with us.
We had our company branded Sprinter van, which was actually Miss Tyson's idea, was to brand the side of the Sprinter van for obviously exposure during the week. So that was pretty awesome that Miss Tyson suggested that. So we were just a big Mike Tyson billboard driving down the freeway, stopping at every Buc-ee's we could. And
so we drove up to Dallas, like you said, about a week in advance. Day 1, we had the open gym. So that was eventful. First day, went to pick up Team Tyson coaches, the film crew. I mean, it was eventful off the jump. They were running late because Mike had one more training that he sparred.
They said he got in like the most incredible training session ever. So that was cool.
So he had a training, so everybody was running late. So pressure was already on first day to get there on time.
So basically Tuesday of the event, they had open workouts to where the fans could come in from all over the world and watch all the boxers on the undercard and the main card have a 15 or 20 minute workout in the ring in front of the fans. So when we say open workout on Tuesday, that's what we were referencing.
Yeah, that was open to the public as well. And our booth was set up there, selling some stuff, some merchandise. So the open gym was cool. I think one of my favorite things about the open gym was when we got there, they did the undercard. Fighters did their open gym first, and then boom, Mike goes. And then Amanda went, and then Katie went, and then Jake went last. So like if you kind of paid attention, Mike should have been last. But it's like even Mike at his age, he's running the show. Like I'm ready to do my open gym. I'm going right now.
He changed the time twice. So obviously when the baddest man on the planet lets you know there needs to be a schedule change, guess what? There's a schedule change. So Mike was obviously the kingpin of the event, and obviously we've been with Mike for years, and it was incredible to be a part of the training sessions, to be a part of the, in the locker room before and after all the events. That aspect of it was pretty surreal to me.
Yeah. So that was a fun day. Left the open gym. I got a cool opportunity to eat dinner with Team Tyson. I enjoyed that. Everybody was there, just a bunch of guys eating dinner, hanging out, telling cool stories,
talking about training camp and the months leading up to it.
That with Billy White, who's Mike's coach. He was just
since he was a kid
praising Ryan. Yeah, just praising Ryan the whole time about the cool experience Ryan brought to him and how big of a fan he was of Pete Rose and how Ryan hooked him up, with some cool Pete memorabilia. So he had a lot of good things to say. And then
You sat with us at the open workout, right?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
What was your thought? I mean, obviously, you weren't with Fitterman Sports yet full time, but you were at the first signing with Mike 13 years ago when we had him here in Houston. So obviously, fast forward, we're sitting ringside with Tyson's Miss Tyson, and we're watching Mike train in the ring. It's just, can you put into words what that was from your perspective?
Well, Brian mentioned the first time, and Mike's joked about this and talked about this. When I met Mike, he was probably not at the best point in his life, out of shape. And to fast forward, like you say, to now, and he's fighting and he's cut in shape.
Best shape possible.
Correct. And yeah, I mean, that was just a surreal moment being ringside, watching him train, watching him spar. Like, I made a post on Facebook, like, from the first time I met him, I would have never guessed or thought that I would ever see him fight. We saw the exhibition fight a few years ago, but I mean, that was an exhibition fight.
No one could go to the Roy Jones fight.
Correct. And there was no fans. It was during COVID. So being in the presence, in a gym atmosphere, in a ring, seeing Mike in the ring, just sparring and in person, to me was a real surreal moment.
I thought your Monday evening post on social media leading up to the week, if people don't follow you on Instagram or whatnot, can you share what that post was and how that meant, what that meant?
Yeah, so going back, I mean, Tyson would never, ever thinking I would see Mike fight. In our industry, obviously, we do a lot of public signing, private signings with Mike. And one of the things that comes through the line or mail-ins or that Ryan gets signed or fight credentials. So that's one of the things that we get signed. So obviously credentials are given to photographers, media people, trainers, family,
Team
Tyson, stuff like that. So being there and having a credential for the fight with my name on it was pretty special, pretty a real moment. Because I mean, those are just not given to anybody. I mean, you have to submit names; they have to be approved. I mean, at some point,
security background checks.
Correct. And I never tested mine, but apparently there was a chip on it that you said they had to scan in to make sure it was real to let you in to whatever section or area you were permitted to.
Once you pointed that out, and I saw you make that the social media post with a picture of your credentials, obviously with your name on it, first and last name, Team Tyson. I was like, man, I mean, not only is this whole week, all the build up, is it so special to be a small part of it, but like you said, like when it was fight night and I was given an all access credential with my name on it, my company name, and like Team Tyson, and my badge was obviously I could access anywhere in the stadium. Obviously, I was helping out in the locker room before the fight, after the fight, etc. It's like, that was one of those moments when you're just like, holy cow, this is unbelievable. Is this really happening? How did I get in this moment? How am I so fortunate to be a small part of such a mega event?
A definitely pinch you moment.
Yeah,
for sure. Like,
I know we save or I think you do, right?
Our badges for
I
shows
save my
and stuff.
badge from every show, from the smallest show to to get.
This is big time.
So, but it was cool because we got one that said Fitterman Sports with our name on it, and then fight night, I got Team Tyson with my name on it. So
basically, there was different credentials for
that was cool.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then there was fight night credentials. And Nick was helping me out with a lot of the logistics, transporting Team Tyson and the family and the coaches, and I had him running in and out of the locker room doing crazy stuff. And I think
parking cars,
whatever it took. I mean, we were there to get it done, right? Obviously, we're in the locker room a few hours before Mike's arrival, just helping with some of the preparation. But I think when we first got in there, Nick had a bunch of the equipment and he set it down, and I think we just kind of looked at each other. And there was a moment where it was just like, holy shit, we are in Mike Tyson's locker room before his fight, and we're just like, what do we do?
So it's like I didn't even know where to stand.
Yeah, it was just such a moment, right? So working in sports, I mean, I've been in locker rooms and I had an office in the Rockets locker rooms and things of that nature, but nothing could compare. But there was just that moment where we walked in and we finally could catch a breath, and we were both just like, holy cow, like we're really in here.
Yeah.
Like this is going on. This is Tyson's fight night. Like the man's going to show up. Like we need to have stuff ready. We need to help the team any way we can. You know, I mean, any and everything. I mean, there was a moment where they had the wrong water for Mike's fight, right? And it's like, you don't take those things in consideration. You know, it's like bottled water is bottled water. Well, if the champ wants a certain type of water on fight night, it's like, we're going to Cowboys personnel and stadium personnel, and we're like, here's a picture of the water we needed. This is the wrong water. We need new water. We need this many of them. And then there were some rules with Texas Boxing Commission. So they have certain rules where, you know, you can obviously only have like plastic water jugs in the corner or a plastic spit bucket. Well, obviously the Cowboys personnel, they're trying to help any way they can, but they provided us like a metal bucket, and it's like, we can't have metal. We have to have rubber or plastic. So, you know, no one thinks about these things going on behind the scenes, you know, getting down into the stadium. It's like, we had credentials to park down there and pull up essentially outside the locker room. And obviously the traffic is nonstop, but you had to go to a different part of the street, across the street, and have bomb dogs or explosive dogs or police dogs search the vehicle. So you had to turn the van off, open the back, the dog jumps in. Like,
That was insane.
yeah, I mean, it's like, and we're trying to get the team to the locker room, and now, you know, Mike's going to have a police escort, and we have to inform them that you need to go across the street, and the vehicles have to be searched by the police dog, you know, that this delays this many minutes, etc. So there's a lot of things that we were privileged to be a part of behind the scenes, and just essentially be a small part of the team and help out that week. But being in the locker room was just the holy cow moment to me, that obviously from February to the July fight being canceled, to us almost losing Tyson due to a health scare, to Mike coming back and being in the best shape possible, and now it's fight night and we're, you know, minutes away from his arrival into the locker room, was just probably one of the most surreal, magical moments of my entire career. What are you reflecting back on from fight week? Obviously, you had some moments, you know, being there with your daughter. Sophia's met Mike 100 times. Sophia calls him Uncle Mike. I mean, you're in one of the biggest stadiums in the country. You're a part of the event. You know, you're working the event. You're there with your family. I mean, tell me what your thoughts were on fight night leading up to the showtime.
Well, leading up to the whole event, obviously, if you've ever been on our setting up for a show, I mean, there's a lot of logistics, stress that comes in setting up an event. So obviously getting there, setting up, we mentioned we were at the Toyota Music Factory for 3 days, merch and stuff. So that was one portion of the trip. And then obviously setting up at Cowboy Stadium, which was, you know, it was just our Super Bowl, essentially, you know, a big event under the, you know, big bright lights. The atmosphere, I mean, the whole week was just crazy, unbelievable. Obviously working the merch booth, we had customers from all over the world: Ireland, Germany, Mexico, Honduras, Australia, UK, all over the place. Yeah, and then of course from everywhere in the US. I had never experienced anything like that since we would do like the WrestleMania events, just meeting people from all over the world coming to one place. And then a bigger thing coming to our state, you know, Texas. Yeah. You know, when the fight was announced, we were like, oh, it's going to be in Vegas, it's going to be in New York. But when they said Texas, like, holy crap.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. But I mean, Ryan obviously mentioned my daughter, my family being there. Sophia, obviously growing up, I mean, Mike has been a huge part of her life since she was little. Obviously, she's 100% team Tyson. So having the opportunity to have her there, I mean, I think she was the most crunk out of everyone and excited to be there. She did shed a couple tears after the match, but that's for another episode. You know, just being there, experiencing the moment, like I said earlier, never in the wildest that I guess I would get to see Mike fight in a sanctioned fight. I mean, in person, which, you know, was awesome. I mean, having my family there, you know, we're managing one of the booths, helping out. But one of the coolest things that I would take away, and it's going to probably be my favorite moment of the whole trip, is a couple days, rewind till Monday, and, you know, we're having dinner, we're having, you know, a couple of drinks or whatever. And
whoa,
I don't recall this, but apparently I volunteered myself to go get the mat after the match. And I even said, I mean, according to my teammates, said I was going to put it on over my shoulder, and I don't know, whatever. But anywho, so I volunteered to go get the mat after the match, which was cool, whatever. Obviously,
let me interrupt, and
Go
then
ahead.
you could jump
all right,
in.
go ahead.
So as we stated previously in the podcast here, we made a deal to purchase the physical assets of the fight, meaning the stools for the red and blue corner, the pads for the red and blue corner, the actual ring mat, and the actual sponsored ropes for the fight. So obviously, authenticity is a big part of our world, and autographs and memorabilia in game use, fight use, relics, etc. So we had reps from MVP, which is Jake's company, immediately grab the red and white stools after the fight and physically stand by the ring with the stools until we could approach and obtain them. And then so Manuel went with his daughter, which I wanted to set the tone a little bit. Manuel went with his daughter and recorded the process of everything being disassembled, including the red and blue pads, corner pads coming off, the ropes coming off. It was, what would you say, like 60, 90 minutes? I mean,
At least.
yeah, because I was with Tyson in the locker room after the fight and helping with some things with him and the family. And so you might have been down there over 2 hours.
Yeah, because right after the fight,
to be honest.
I mean, I think we all did by the end of the night, but yeah, right after the fight ended, I gave a little time for, the crowd to die out. So me and Sophia head down there with the dolly and a few boxes. So which was pretty cool because obviously we have to go all the way down to the ground level, loading dock, whatever. And so just walking around to get to Gary's World. Obviously, we still caught some of the celebrities leaving. We saw Michael Irvin leaving and a couple other guys. And then we loop around and we pass up Jake Paul's locker room and they're bringing in the pigeon that he walked out with. So Sophia was eating it all up. And then as we finally get to where the entrance, Amanda Soriano's locker was there and she happened to just be walking out. And Sophia had, obviously was rooting for her to win. So she approached her for a photo op and they had a pretty cool little moment, together, and she got a photo with her. So that was pretty cool. So then we finally make it into the arena and we're there just minding our business. There's still VIPs in the ring taking photos and stuff like that. So we're just to the side, just hanging out. And then out of nowhere, I hear Manuel, Sophia. And I'm like, who the heck's calling us? So our MVP rep spots us and calls us into the ring. And I told Sophia, like, let's go. Like, we're not missing this opportunity. So he was kind enough to get us in the ring. We got a couple pictures in the ring before they tore it down. So then we're just hanging out down there while the ring crew is tearing down the ring. So it's obviously by steps. They take out the corner pads, the robes, and I'm collecting as they're taking stuff off. And then, like Ryan said, took a couple hours because the last thing they do is they take the mat off. So then they strategically take it off. And, they're
a certain way.
And I think Derek, we've all folded and again unfolded mats in our career here at the office. So it's a tedious process. But while we were down there too, if you followed anything in the fight, obviously you saw one of the biggest thing was a $2 million suite.
Oh, the owner's experience,
yes.
I believe.
Yeah, so the suite ringside, literally attached to the ring, sold for $2 million. So while we were waiting there, me and Sophia were sitting there just hanging out, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, the seat. So basically, they built a custom suite and created a package, like the ultimate baller package, and built a suite ringside. I mean, you could reach out and touch the fight mat.
Yeah, you probably got blood on you.
So it was a $2 million package that was offered for the Tyson Paul fight, and somebody purchased it. So obviously we're into like the wee hours of the morning, and so Sophia's laid back, chilling, watching it all play out, essentially in a seat that was $1 million.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So we went down there, and I mean, just that experience of being down there. I mean, like I said, being in the ring once again. Never thought I'd see Mike fight, but then being in the ring of the fight, that was a pretty cool moment. So then we collect the ring, obviously go back. At that point, it's probably like 2 a.m, 1 a.m. It was just a surreal moment all day, just from the getting to the stadium, setting up, being there. Just every once in a while, stadiums will put a time lapse of events in there. So just being at fast pace, but
Time
just
did we
still
get there? Friday morning,
8:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
And we left at 4.
But by that point, there was already people up on flights trying to, so.
So Derek was part of the team that flew in the day of fight night. What time did you wake up that day? 3? Or what time did you leave the stadium? 4?
4:15.
AM the next day.
AM to AM.
Yeah,
Nice.
AM to AM.
So you flew in to help. Lori, your wife flew in to help.
Yes, sir.
You were part of the team of, I think it was 30 that flew in. Dina and her daughter showed up. His gang, Nick was there in it, in the trenches. But yeah, I mean, tell us about your 25-hour Mike Tyson fight night.
Man, it was literally, the wife said, I got to get the wife up first. You know how that goes. So, we get up, we go meet the rest of the crew at the airport. Everybody's somewhat ready to go. Don't really not know what we're fixing to get ourselves into. On the flight, quick flight, thank God. We land.
Derek doesn't like to fly.
I've gotten better, but yes, very quick flight. We land, and it was literally grab breakfast. All the crew, we stopped and got breakfast, drove to the Airbnb, kind of like real quick, ate, unload, and to the stadium we go. And let's just say it was eventful. We had to set up 4 booths.
So start from scratch. We had a trailer driven. We had our 40-foot trailer driven up.
Yeah. So then the crew before us luckily had already pre-assembled it in a sense, maybe 25% of the actual booth that had to be adjusted and moved.
Yeah, I was about to say, yes, we set them up, but then had to move them all. But
so, like you say, so with that being said, they've already kind of pre-did a lot of the work coming from downstairs in the loading dock up to the main course.
So we have to unload.
We did that Thursday night.
Pallets and pallets of product.
16 pallets.
and if you've never worked an event like this, you're fighting with other people to use
For the pallet elevator.
yeah.
Freight elevator.
Freight elevator.
There you go.
So you're working. You're working around the other people.
We're not the only ones there. Let's just say that.
Yeah, what was surprising to me was how many people get there and at what time they show up for an event that essentially isn't starting till fight at night, right? And it's like you said, we're fighting, for parking spots, for trailer spots, for our badges to get in, our badges to move around.
Oh, the 3-mile walk to get to the stadium from the employee parking.
We have a parking pass for you, but it's in another city.
At the end of the day,
put in the walk. Nick and I just
We were
on our way.
we figured it out though,
But unloading 16 pallets and then distributing them to the 4 corners of the stadium.
Right.
Not only was it a lot of work, and what you guys did was pretty unbelievable given the circumstances that we've never done such an event before. We learned a lot, but I was just beyond proud of the team. We divided into 4 teams. Each team had a team captain and a point person, and everyone, I think, just sucked it up, pushed through, and just kicked ass.
Kudos to the Fitterman employee family members that came in and helped us. My wife, Mayo's wife, Ari, Michael's wife. There's countless. I don't know. There's probably
Veronica's husband, daughter.
Yeah. So
I had a lot of people step up and help execute. Yes, my boy Jonathan execute. Essentially, the building of 4 retail stores in the Cowboy Stadium to accommodate 73,000 fans. And not know, what we're getting ourselves into.
That was the craziest part.
Like you say, man, setting up is, once again is, we had I think it was a 10 by 12, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere, maybe 12 by 12. Yeah, it was not big at all.
Strict.
And yes, they were. So, with that being said, it's, everybody had their booth. We set up, and if somebody else needed help, so forth. So, we helped back and forth. Think we had at the end of when it was all said and done, we might have had possibly at the most 2 hours of maybe 2 hours of just relax time, if you will, before it all kicked off, man. And then
I'll set up and crush it. Like Manuel said, I feel like everyone has, because you were in a different booth than your family, and Sheena was in one booth, Derek's family was in another booth. Obviously, other team members had other booths. It's what was the energy like? What was the pace of the event? As Manuel said earlier, he had people from a dozen different countries in literally every state.
Doors opened at 4. So, the doors opened at 4:00. So we literally at 3:55, everybody got bathroom break. Y'all go get it, because more than likely we're not going to be able to get this break. It's kind of like at a show that we do on a daily basis that you just know, like, once it starts, like, you're not done until it's over.
It's
So
not- yeah.
yeah, so at 4 o'clock, everybody's like, man, where are the people at? And here we are, 4:10. And I'm looking around and like I see movement outside because there's glass on or to the side of us, and still nobody. 4:30 rolls around and the doors swing open. And let me tell you something.
No turning back.
There, there was not a break for a good and I say a break meaning like 30 seconds until the next customer. It was straight for a minimum of 3 hours.
I think
It
until
was-
the Mike fight actually started, people
Yeah,
were like, all right,
yes.
this is what we're here for.
Yes. So we had nonstop customers all the way up until Jake Paul started to make his entrance. Once that song or whatever, his entrance song came on, that's when everybody
I
was
think
like,
we're song he was trolling Mike.
yes. So
Collins.
when everybody zoned in, and before, but up until that, the Serrano fight
Nonstop.
I mean, I've met people from France, tons of Canadians. I mean, there was bukus of them, and all different walks. Man, there was they were across the board, man.
I didn't get to, I was thankful to be doing what I was doing, but I didn't get to come up there and not only check on you guys, but be like part of the action.
Yeah.
And the fast paced hustle and bustle of it is something I think we all love and enjoy. And obviously, we're thankful for the customers, but I didn't get to come up there and bother you guys and see what was going on. But I was looking at the sales on my computer. I'm like, this is a lot of transactions. What the heck are these guys doing up there?
Yeah, it was very fast paced for sure. And luckily all the customers were patient. Everyone, knew, they saw what was going on and were patient and stuff like that. And kudos to them too for making it easy on us too, because we've been at events,
73,000, right?
yeah, events where people are impatient and they're like, but
I would say one of the toughest things would have been explaining to the fans about our products, what we do as a company, who we are, how we represent Mike, and somewhat represent Jake for being the only autograph company to be able to work with them and to prove to these people that these aren't facing them. These are actually hand signed by the talent, and they're not reproduced or replicated this is actual authentic, and having to explain to them the process of what we do and how we do it over and over for a the continued time. It's fun at the same time to be able to explain to others that have that never seen what I call our world of autograph memorabilia. So a lot of them were like literally stunned that those were literally signed by Jake and Mike.
I think going in, we knew it was something, because not everyone is, knowledgeable or knows about our industry and stuff like that. So we knew that was going to be a big question. Are these real, or, but being able to explain, and, to me, I thought that was pretty cool because, we deal with a lot of people in the industry that know what we do.
Right.
So being able to teach people, and, I thought it was pretty cool.
I mean, go ahead.
The goal when we agreed to this partnership for the event was to not only be associated with it because, we're Mike's company or we're the only ones to work with Jake, but you have to have the reality of the situation that there's millions of people out in the world who have no clue who Fitterman Sports are.
Right.
So I wanted to attach ourselves to this event and this platform and be able to have this stage to be in front of, hopefully tens of thousands of new customers. Right. And so, we go every single day and we're like, yes, the autograph's real. We get it signed ourselves. Yes, it's real. It's authenticated by JSA or Beckett, and people are like, well, what's JSA? What's Beckett? Who's Fitterman Sports? And so being able to be in that position to where we hopefully reached tens of thousands of new customers and new collectors from all over the world. That was obviously the main mission for this event, was the exposure of it. And I think you guys did a great job of capturing that and, entertaining the customers with the questions that they had to make sure they walked away feeling comfortable with an item that they knew was authentic and or that they could prove that was authentic, right? So every Mike Tyson autograph we sold there, it came authenticated by Fitterman Sports with the exclusive Mike Tyson hologram, but then it also came authenticated by JSA, which is James Spence Authentication, and they had a witness certificate of authenticity with it. So, the fan base learning about our company, and for them being able to walk away with an item of Tyson's that was essentially dual authenticated. And obviously the Jake Paul items were witness authenticated as well. It was just a great platform for us to hopefully plant a bunch of seeds, as we always like to say, with new customers and or executives. I met the CEO of Everlast, and we've bought gloves from them for 15 years. I met I don't know if it was the CEO, the owner of Celsius, the owner of Built, the clothing brand that Mike and Grok endorse and are partners of. So the networking and the exposure was second to none. It's something that we've never done to that level, and I think you guys just did an unbelievable job. As far as your family members and team members that aren't here, you guys did an outstanding job of representing our brand and our company to the world on the biggest stage possible.
It was a little nervous. I mean, I know Sheena's over there, but she was there and doing her little thing and this and that. But in the beginning, it was just like stressful, like waiting for
The unknown.
to like just unravel, because we had minimum of 4 people per booth. Like you say, some really didn't know. I mean, they've all worked with us at times, but like you say, we didn't know, and they definitely didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. But I just think dealing with the crowd and everybody understanding not one issue.
Like everyone was super cool.
Oh, dude, every person that I met, I mean, you could carry on a conversation. And once again, you carried on a conversation as long as you could due to the people waiting behind.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to, you wanted to accommodate, but not upset someone. So it was a juggle at times. You had to rush the sale or whatever, the transaction. But man, it was fun to be able to be in there to kind of witness a lot that's going on down there, but just, getting it the entire time. But the people were great, surprisingly great.
Yeah, the energy in that building, yes, electric is a great word and an understatement of how to describe just how it felt in there. But going back to what you said about interacting with the customers, you said something after the fact that I thought was very interesting. Is boxing has a very diverse fan base, right? So there's people that are less fortunate who take part in boxing and or watch boxing, and then there's billionaires, right? And every one of us in between. When you pointed out just the different walks of life that you encountered throughout that evening in a boxing environment of that magnitude, I love interacting with the people at conventions and signings. And so, you guys said it was just unbelievable having that type of interaction with everyone. And it's funny because just tying in how there's so many different walks of life. So after the fight, obviously like security's insane and people are rushing everywhere, and celebrities and locker rooms or whatever. So there was some issues with vehicles getting into the stadium and down underneath. Well, obviously our vehicles were down there. And so we load up the Sprinter van, and we loaded up with Miss Tyson's parents and some other people, etc. And there was another gentleman in the vehicle who that vehicle at that time wasn't assigned to him, but we knew he was a good friend of Mike's, and I've met him before and had lunch at his house. And anyway, so I tying in the different walks of life, and obviously if they're, Team Tyson or family or friends of Mike, we're going to accommodate them. But Nick drives off, and I'm like, Nick, I just want you to know you have Miss Tyson's mom in the van. You have Miss Tyson's dad in the van. And the guy who decided to ride shotgun with you in the Sprinter is a very powerful billionaire. I'm like, do not this up.
And his kids are also.
Yeah, and all his kids and his wife in the back. So it's just tying it all together. It's like, not only when you're around Mike, but the people that he brings out. I mean, his reach is, there's no limit to it. And his reach is so powerful, and he brings out all walks of life. So.
And it's crazy because throughout the years we've seen it. If it's his homeboy from the neighborhood, from back in the day, or like you said, the billionaire. Yeah,
Yeah.
we see them all at events where with
Yeah,
lifelong friends and all.
Yeah,
Like,
lifelong friends from the neighborhood or business folks in between or coaches or friends or other celebrities. And I'm just like, I was like, Nick, got Miss Tyson's parents in the car. And I'm not going to, for privacy reasons, I'm not going to say his name on the podcast, but I'm like, this dude's a billionaire and he's a pretty powerful cat, Nick. And he was like, well, I didn't know who he was. He just jumped in the front and said, I want to ride shotgun with you.
He's sitting sideways and he's
Just chilling, telling stories. And I was just like, I'm like, Nick, please don't let me down. Don't mess this up. And he's like, I got this. And then I was like, should I have told him who was in there and added the pressure or just let him go? But I'm like, you got it. So, but Nick came through and helped out. But that just goes to show you the reach that Tyson has. And like Dana White said in a post-fight press conference, he was like, when Mike Tyson shows up, the world shows up and everyone makes money.
Sure.
It's just the Mike Tyson effect that he has that no one else has, right? I mean, people have their mixed reviews of the outcome of the fight, which we're choosing not to get into on this show, but you know, it was one of the highest grossing boxing matches outside of Las Vegas ever. It was the most watched live streaming sporting event ever.
So going on all walks of life. Gina was in my booth and she will co-sign. We had some
Was she in your
characters.
booth or you were in her booth?
Oh, I was the team captain. This is my booth.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I continue.
he's not playing games.
Anywho, so we had some characters come to our booth. We had some guy dressed as Alan with baby Carlos. And then we had
From The
one.
Hangover?
Yeah, and then we had one guy. He was probably like the best customer we had all night. He came up first, and I think he bought a pair of gloves. And the guy wanted a pair of gloves, so we sold him a pair of gloves. And then he goes on to put them on. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I'm buying them to wear. I'm not buying them to collect. I'm not a collector. I'm gonna wear them." I'm like, "All right, cool. Do you?" And he comes back and buys a belt. Same thing. He unwraps it.
You got trunks?
No, hold on. He unwraps it and puts it on. And then he comes back a third time and he wants another pair of gloves because he gave the other pair to someone there.
Iconic customer.
Yeah.
I like this guy.
So he comes back and buys another pair of gloves and has his friend. And then,
Hey, if you're out there, man, give us a call, man.
and
I'll
then,
sell you more gloves if you gave none away.
and then, no, he does ask for the trunks, but I think they were too small, whatever, for him to wear. So he didn't pass on the trunks. But that guy, he was interesting, pretty cool customer. He wore the belt and the gloves and
Another cool thing is I wasn't at the booths, but my dad's coworker went to the fight. One of the brokers took him to the fight, so he goes for free. And then after the fight, he calls my dad and he's like, "Hey, I was at the Tyson Paul fight. I got some cool stuff I want to give you from the fight." So my dad tells me "Hey, were y'all selling cards or anything?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we had some cards that said I was there." He was like, "I think my coworker got them for me. I don't want to tell him you work for Vitamin Sports, but I think he got them for me." So the coworker comes back to the office. My dad comes home. My dad has 10 programs and 2 sets of the cards that his buddy that he works with.
Why would he buy him 10 programs?
He didn't know that. I don't know. I have no idea. So he thought it'd be cool to get my dad stuff from the fight.
Well, we
and
appreciate it.
He bought it from his son's
Company.
who he works with.
That's amazing.
But it's kind of cool, just small world. Who was at the fight? What they thought would be cool stuff they're bringing to their coworkers to give them, and have no idea.
We had a video. You were talking about the program, so we were the inside cover of the program, full page ad that Sheena made. Thank you so much. It was beautiful. You did amazing. So we were the inside cover of the program. And so unboxing it, I think on Tuesday, and seeing it, right. It's like Mike Tyson fight night and then Fitterman Sports and the page. That was another one of those, as Manuel would say, pinch me moments. And so I think Nick took a video of me unboxing it and had Sheena post on social media. Well, Tyson shared it. So that the video went viral and got 1 million+ views, whatever. But just being, again, a part of the event where we're in that program for forever is, again, another surreal moment. Maybe I'll get one framed one day, but I'll have to, sorry. But no, just being a part of it in that aspect and in the program was pretty incredible.
Yeah, I think that like you say, those having that from the magnitude of the fight to be able to be incorporated in being part of the whole event, like you say, y'all being there beginning of the week all the way through fight week, the fight night, like everything in the program, selling merchandise for the fight alone. Like, how many people can say they've actually been able to be a part of something of that magnitude? You know, I think it's a big accomplishment for Fitterman Sports. For sure.
I think so also. And I think it is a massive accomplishment, but I think a lot of that credit goes to you guys for, you know, working long hours, weeks up to the fight, preparing the merchandise booths, you know, organizing, counting the logistics, the building the mock-up stores in the warehouse. I mean, you know, I set the deal up or whatever, but it's like it couldn't have been executed and we couldn't have pulled it off without the whole essentially family coming together to make it work.
Took every bit of us. I
Took every bit of it for sure. If Colette was 6 instead of 5, should have asked me. There were some cards in the
I'm telling you, it was eventful, man. But
because one night prior to that, we were till midnight, 1 o'clock, preparing stuff.
This was a week before we even went.
Correct. So it was like that Wednesday or Tuesday.
It wasn't just that week.
No,
it was
leading up.
It was prior
weeks.
to. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
week
with an S.
Yeah, prior to that.
Once Ryan locked the deal and was like, we're doing it. From that day, we had a meeting and it was like, hey, there's
early morning, late evening.
He said, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. And I mean, respectfully, yes, 100%. But that's one of the things I like about, you know, our team. Everyone steps up when needed. And I mean, like Ryan said, we executed.
I got a shout out to my framing on my framing.
Oh yes,
too,
the framers, they had a little assembly line going, and I mean, they knocked out the framing we needed. Not sound like not knowing what we were getting ourselves into. Like, we prepared the best we could. And I mean, we're here now talking about it.
Yeah. It's like the week happened so quickly,
yes.
Right? And it's like from February or January when we got the call to like, you know, November 14th, the night before, November 15th, the night up. It's like it seemed like it went by like that. And obviously, like, crazy things in between, right? Like Mike almost passed away. Pete did pass away. It's just like, it's been an unbelievable roller coaster. And for it to be fight night and literally the stadium lights come on and you guys and girls performed the way that you did makes me realize, you know, we truly do have the best team in the industry.
And crazy thing about it is when all this is going down with Mike's health issues, we were in Vegas to do the last signing leading up to prepare for the fight
in July.
The first time.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's crazy. And like,
I went through a lot of the process twice.
So like Mike says, everything is written. Everything happens for a reason. There's, you know, only God knows why it didn't happen in July. It had to happen in November. And I mean, once again, like we're here talking about it now. So it's crazy.
Back, I mean, people, you know, I was with Mike in numerous intimate settings that week, meaning like in the locker room and, you know, private time, etc., leading up to it. And I think one of my favorite, most intense moments was on Thursday at the weigh-in. So basically everyone saw the clip that went viral where Mike slapped the shit out of Jake, right? So everyone's like, oh, it's planned, it's staged, like it's to get hype for it. Us knowing, or me knowing Mike the way I know Mike, it's like that look in his eyes was not staged. Like, he was pissed off. And the reason for it is people have to go back and break down the video is when Jake approaches him and comes up on the stage, he steps on Mike's toes. Well, mind you, it's the weigh-in. So you take your pants off, you take your jacket off, you take your shoes off. So Mike walks from the scale to where he's being weighed over to Jake with no shoes on. Jake comes up, I think, knowing that Mike has a thing about his feet being stepped on, because Mike's talked about it in interviews before. Then you see him purposely step on Mike's foot, and then Mike just slaps the shit out of him, and then all hell breaks loose. So it was interesting to be a fly on the wall and in the locker room after that intense moment happened, and us as the world, including myself, got to see like a version of the old Mike Tyson, right? Where he would just go off in press conferences and talking about beating people up and
other things.
All the other crazy insert clip, right? So, I mean, just some of the things it happened so fast in the moment, and that week was kind of like a blur. But just to share some of those behind the scenes moments with Mike and because of Mike was obviously just, it was surreal to me. That feeling could never be topped. It was just unbelievable.
It was definitely real when he got hit. Everything about that was real. I mean, I think
it was
that,
100%.
I think
real.
that
it
was the,
not staged, and
that
there
was
was
like
people that
the-
were like, "Oh, it was staged. This is what we needed."
Yeah.
Like Netflix is so happy. Like, no, I'm sorry, that wasn't staged.
That
it
was
happened to be
the-
perfect,
yeah,
and it happened to work out, and it happened to build the hype up 24 hours before the fight. But there was nothing staged about it. Jake purposely stepped on his foot to get a reaction,
Yep.
and I think he expected just Mike to push him.
right.
And Mike was like, "Nah, bro." He smacked the shit out of him, and then Mike was ready, down to go, ready to go.
That ride back afterwards was tense.
Yes,
I think that was the one night we like didn't go to dinner.
Yeah.
Like
we didn't have dinner. The team was quiet.
It was just
Everyone was quiet in the van. Like
it was
the locker room was just like that.
Yeah.
That was not scripted.
it was like
the real
a
deal.
very tense moment.
And then Tops Now made a card of it.
Yep.
In the I showed you, right?
Oh, yes,
They
yes,
made
yes,
a
yes.
card of the slap. So Tops being one of the largest trading card companies in our industry that was recently purchased by Fanatics, of course. Tops Now makes cards of like in the moment right now, action shots from sporting events. And so they made a Tops Now card of Mike slapping the shit out of Jake. And basically the card goes on sale for like 48 hours, 36 hours, and you can buy it in that moment. And then the print run is cut off, and that's the completion of that card. And it's a limited run. So that's another item we'll have in stock soon is those cards signed by Mike and potentially signed by Jake. So that's really cool item that we'll have coming soon also.
Like we said, I mean, it was a long week. Like Derek stated earlier, before we it was 3:30 in the morning Saturday, and Sophia jokes around about when she was younger, she pulled an all-nighter. I told her, "Baby, now you can officially
This is all
pull an all-nighter."
Tyson fight night, you pulled it on.
Because she was offered multiple times to go home, and she refused to go home. She wanted to stay to the end.
Missing out on
Correct,
something.
for sure.
It definitely
Trooper.
It definitely wasn't planned to be on
No.
that. We did. Or let me say this. I didn't think it was going to be
I didn't either.
like I said midnight 2 something. God knowing that it was going to be 4:15 because that's Derek wakes up like
You're at work. You're
Derek
late
wakes
that
up
day.
at like 2:45. Like so.
But so in boxing and in the fight world, I feel oftentimes the events run extremely late, and I might be off a little bit on the timing of it, but I don't think anyone associated with the event, and I don't think Mike planned on his entrance being at like 10:50 or 10:53 or something along those lines. And so tying back into you guys putting in a 24-hour day, I wouldn't say we weren't prepared for that because you guys just do whatever it takes when the time comes. But with the first match starting at 4:30 p.m. and there only being 7 fights, no one thought like we would look down at our watch and we're like, oh wow, it's 3:55 a.m. and we're still in Cowboy Stadium, trying to wrap this up. So in short, to summarize this episode and this event that we were a part of, obviously it was the biggest, being the biggest Tyson event that has taken place in the past 25 years, obviously on the largest platform being Netflix. We're extremely excited to be a part of it. We can't wait for the next event, whether it's a Tyson fight or another, Jake Paul takes on Canelo or Jake Paul takes on Conor McGregor or whoever he takes on, RoboCop, the Terminator. You have no idea who the hell Jake's going to fight and make $150,000 million from it. We're thankful to be a part of that. You guys did an incredible job. I think we're all, happy to be a small part of a historical event like that. And for the Fitterman Sports fans that supported us in Dallas at AT&T Stadium, thank you. For the new consumers and customers, we look forward to working with you. And we are going to have some incredible items commemorating that event that will be on the Fitterman Sports website very soon. So stay tuned. Thank you, gentlemen, for everything.
And shout out also to AT&T Stadium staff. They were very helpful.
They were unbelievable,
accommodating us with all our requests.
Hopefully we'll see you guys sometime
for sure
soon in the near future.
Thank y'all.
So round of applause to the Fitterman Sports family, all the folks on the show with us, behind the scenes, all the team and family members who are not here. And I hope everyone has a great day. Peace out. Thank you guys. Like and subscribe.
And good luck at Autorama.
I ain't never missed my cue.
I don't fucking know.
They're
Just
on a
say
roll.
something. No one wants to hear me fucking talk the whole time.